pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where they're dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where they're dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down through the 7 gates where I'll cast my being to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings, let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans.
Welcome to another edition of Keepers of the Flame. I am your host, Reverend Alicia Lyon Folberth, and with me tonight is Yoruba priest Baba David Coleman, my dear friend and spiritual father, and I'm very honored to have him here tonight on the show. We were just talking about you being a keeper of the flame.
Question or statement?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, being a keeper of the flame is like it's something that you have to you can't claim that. People have to give you that. You can't say, well, I'm a keeper of the flame. You just wind up with those type of responsibilities, and then to acknowledge them and know what they are is what it is that makes a good keeper of the flame. You know, you just do what's needed and what's necessary, and instead of trying to create more for your personal gain, it's for the whole, and whatever comes in your path. It's not about, in other words, it's not about you. It's what the Creator puts in your path. So, whether you're a keeper of the flame, I think everybody's a keeper of the flame to some degree, because they have all type of sayings that kind of cover that. The brother's keeper, the sister's keeper, and all that. I am my brother's keeper and all this, that, and the other. But they exclude the women in that one, the brother's keeper. They don't say the sister's keeper. But being a keeper is like the same thing. You know, the flame is the source of life. The flame is the path, the destiny. As long as it's burning, there is a destiny, there is life. If it's not burning, if it goes out, then that's it. So we have to be responsible to each other, be responsible to the universe, and try to keep the flame lit. Because if the flame goes out, the house gets cold. You don't want the house to be cold, right?
No. I could probably start to talk about all the things that you do, but I think it's probably for the best that you tell everyone all the things that you do. All your work within the community as a master drummer, as a Yoruba priest.
Well, you know, there again, too, you can't call yourself a master. The people have to call you a master, and then you accept or not accept being a master. Because master is determined by the people, not the individual. And the so-called master has to be a number of things, a combination of things. You have to be a philosopher, a friend. You have to be doctor. You have to be a number of things to be the master drummer. Totally devoted, totally involved in the craft, or whatever craft it may be. That's the master. And you find yourself challenged with all sorts of things, because life is a journey, and you discover what you are about as you confront the challenges. And just imagine if you had no challenges, you probably would never know what you were about.
That's true.
You could only just imagine what you think you might be about. But if you were alone on an island from beginning to end, nobody ever see another human being, what would you do? Who would you be if you never saw another person?
I'd still be myself.
Well, who is that? Most of us pattern ourselves behind what we either think we are or what someone tells us what we are. And it becomes a wonderful joy when you start to define yourself.
Rather than letting other people define you.
Yeah, you really should never, ever, 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 ever let anyone define you or matter to you what they think about who you are. Because that's when you have no control over yourself, whoever that might be. You have no control over yourself when someone else determines who you are. That's the beginning of lack of control. And that usually comes a combination of things, the low self-esteem and lack of worth and all that type of stuff. You want to get on a good foot and just stay on the awareness road. You know, the awareness road. Like every little thing in this universe matters. Every little thing has a little spot to be in. Every little thing has a place. And a beautiful, even more than an aesthetic eye, the beauty of the depth of a person who can see the importance of the littlest little thing. That is such a beautiful thing, to be able to see how important something is, something really small can be, without letting it throw you out of balance. Because you could become so concerned about something that you cease to function. So, yeah, just to give it the proper attention that it needs, or that it requires, or you know, it's like there's energy, there's nature, and then there's the language. And part of the language describes what we're feeling and what we think the energy is. In other words, you get what your hand calls for. Your hand calls for this, you get this. If your hand calls for that, you get that. So don't overdo it, don't underdo it. Learn how to keep a balance. Learn how to accept life as it comes. Learn how to know yourself and learn how to know more about this universe that we live in. And most of all, respect the creation. Because if you don't respect the creation, then you're really, really lost. It's like living in a house without paying any rent. I don't have to pay any rent. I live here. Yeah, you live there all right, but you still have to pay your rent so that you can keep your space. And in this case, the case of life, paying your rent is being responsible for who you are. That's how you pay your rent. Being responsible for what you create. It keeps you from being out of balance and tripping around. Now, what keeps me in balance is a give and take, a push and pull that music brings. Music describes the whole interaction of people and life and things, because it's a push and pull, give and take experience. If you push only, the music doesn't have the hookup, they call it. You have to push and pull, push and pull. Then you have, they call rhythm. And I really enjoy that. And the vibration, oh my goodness, the vibration. They call it rhythm, but sometimes I just like to call it vibration. You know, when you hit a drum, the way it vibrates, you know, especially after you put your whole heart and soul into this thing to make it sound the way it sounds. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you sat there and planned the whole thing for this thing to sound like this. Incredible. You didn't go to Sam Ash or the music store, the music, what they call the Music World, or all these places. You went and got your materials, and mostly from nature, like the urban drummer that respects life the way we live. You're gonna build a drum. How you gonna do it? You need the top. You need the body. You need the rope to fasten it on. Where you gonna get the top from? Where you gonna get what we call the skin? Where you gonna get it? In the middle of Manhattan.
Tandy.
Never happened. We tried that. We tried the tandy craft with the skin, but you see, that's another form of control.
Yeah.
That's like a museum. Because the museum should actually be set like your home. It shouldn't be set like a hospital or a test tube or something. It should be like your home. Because now you are actually observing something different, so you could incorporate parts of that into yourself. So it would be better to have a setting like your home, with a couch, a chair, table with a lamp, you know, a bookshelf, books on the shelf and all this. But you go to a museum, there's no seats. There's maybe one bench down the middle of the floor, a little hard bench with no back to lean on. And you got to keep it moving, because what you're doing is observing, admiring the species or the specimens that they put on display for you to watch. Now, are you really taking that in as a part of yourself, or are you just looking at it, looking down on it as if it's so different than you? See, the whole idea is it's a part of you. It's not different from you. It's a part of you. So when you put it in a test tube like a museum like that, it becomes different than you. But if your museum is like your home, then it becomes a part of you, whatever you studying, whatever you looking at, and this, that, and other. So museums, I feel, should be set like that. So if a person wants to build a drum or whatever, they're going to learn how to make the drum a part of them rather than something that someone else did, a copy of something someone else did. This is now all you, and you're going to see what you can do with this stuff. Well, it's entombed. It's entrapped, because it really never dies. Only time it dies, really dies, is when it's nitrogenized, when it's totally transformed back into nitrogen, and it just crumbles, dust. That's when it's really dead. Before that, it's always alive. There's some kind of life inside the skin, but it's retarded. The life is retarded. It's like entombed, improperly entombed, actually. It's mummified, you see? The rope's even unnatural. Cotton, nylon, not cotton, but nylon rope. Everything is unnatural. You know, cotton is natural product. Hemp is a natural product. Skin is natural. Drums that are laced with skin. Unbelievable. But we're slipping far and far away from the normal, the natural, from nature. We're slipping far and far from nature. And you can see it in the drums. Everybody wants to go and buy a drum instead of make a drum, or have a drum made by someone who's a drum maker. You know, it's a very special kind of thing to do. If you were a violinist or a celloist, a pianist or whatever, to afford a piano or a flute or cello or violin to be made, handcrafted by an artist, that would cost a fortune. And one of the reasons why is because it came from a person's hands. But a drum, charge any money for that, they look at you like, oh boy, I couldn't possibly pay that much money for that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the cheap imports. They don't realize.
Yeah, that's way too much for that. Why? Because you don't understand what went into it by the drum maker. You don't understand. You think it was just to magically throw that skin on, lace it up, and we learned that from a book. Somebody taught us how to lace the skin, and body boom. Well, it's far more than that. That's only maybe 5% of the process.
Well, I know that the drum that I got from you definitely sings.
Well, see, there you go. And I meant for it to sing forever. And if it stops singing, then you're supposed to bring it back and let it get some care and some love and get petted up and healed up, and then it sings some more. But it starts with appreciation for responsibility. And if you're knowing how to be responsible, you're going to say to yourself, responsible to what, for what? That's what a keeper of the flame is. Someone who knows the answer to both of those questions. To what and for what? The two is the universe. The for is it's important that the universe holds itself together, because that's what supports you, that's what sustains you. It's very simple. But those who sometimes have the power trip, I don't know how they got there, but the power trip ruins you. It really does ruin you. And it starts,
Hubris.
yeah, it starts early sometime.
Yeah.
It really starts early. Some kids don't play the right games when they're little, and they play the wrong games, so the power trip just gets stretched all out of proportion. And when the inevitable adulthood comes in, now you have got to figure out how to really be a rational adult that actually thinks. And it's hard to do that when you're so used to playing the game the way you play it so that you can win.
Now, how did you get started with everything?
Well, I was born started. I was born like that. Because, you can always, you check a child, when a child pops up, you see how they walk across the floor. The way they walk across the floor, the way they sit in the corner, the way they deal with their personal items and all this tells you who they are. You can tell who a child is by just watching what they do with stuff, with things and other people. It tells you who they are. And I was doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now when I was a child. Only difference now is I'm more developed at it. I have more of a sense of purpose, deeper sense of purpose, and there's a wider range of skills. But the journey has been exciting. Learning about water, what the effects of water on skin and rope and wood, and all those things. It's been an exciting journey to learn all of those things, and then to be in control enough to share that with other people. It's an overwhelming gift. It's like being a rock star or something. You walk out there and everybody goes, oh, wow, there he is. And they're only saying there he is because of what you've done. What'd you do? You were very concerned about their happiness. That's what you did. that's all you did was be concerned about people's happiness. And music is my vehicle. Ever since I was little, that's all I did was tap on pots and pans and anything that would make a vibration or a sound. Anything that could make a vibration, I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
See what it was going to do. You heard all those sounds?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
There's overtones, there's undertones, there's midtones.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to cherish all of those sounds, all those little ranges, because they cover, each one of them is within a certain dimension and a zone and all this, that, and other. And they belong there. They belong in every place where they wind up. That's where they really belong. Now, how aware of those zones and those dimensions are you? That's what they call a master musician or master and keeper of the flame. One that does that.
Mm-hmm. You know, also too, it's kind of funny. We incorporate drumming lots of times into our rituals, although definitely not in the same way. And neo-paganism, you'll see a drum circle or something happening or whatever. But, a lot of people really don't know about the spiritual connection of the drum, with the old African religions.
Well, that's unfortunate because you see, the drum is in every culture. There's no culture on the face of the earth that doesn't have one. And every time there is a drum, even if it's a flat, one-note drum, boom, that note is not just a heartbeat. It's even more than that. It's a call to gather of forces within the realm of the drum. It's a call to gather, because as soon as you start to hear that, you do like that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then you might, if it's hooked up well enough, you're going to get up and then you're going to travel over to where it is. And then if things are really hooked up, you're going to want to participate and be a part of that to help make that happen. And things are even more hooked up than that, then you're going to experience the joy of watching other people do like that, get up and come over to the drum.
Mm-hmm.
And then sit down and be a part of it. It's just like a ripple in the pond when you throw a pebble into the water. We're all just one of the ripples that continuously follows each other. We follow each other like that. It's like ripples in the water. There's so many analogies. We follow each other like ripples in the water. We bob and weave like leaves on a tree when the wind is blowing. Thousands of leaves on the trees. They're all just going like that. Everybody is in harmony. Everybody cool. All the leaves is cool in harmony with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the Homo sapien, the thinker, the intelligent one, can't get a group of people in the same space together without trying to figure out who's going to control the space. Unbelievable.
It happens a lot. One of the most fascinating things was, you remember the conversation we had a number of years ago up on the mountain? And we were talking about the way we call down deity. We'd call down deity in entirely different ways, and I was so fascinated about the fact that you do it with the drum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we most of the time have to have the drum because we are the type of humans that are musically oriented. We have we respond to vibration. Now you have some people, different parts of the world, different levels of melanin. They don't need a lot of vibration and things to reach the spiritual height. One boom and a moan is enough. Now they like all spiritual love. They ready to do everything to transcend and ascend and descend and everything. The whole channel is open and everybody's ready to just communicate with the creator and the forces outside. One beat. And then you have people who a continuous beat is what opens up the channel. Once that goes for a certain length of time, that's it. It's open. Everybody's like really in there. And then whatever is out there, you have actually paved the way, carved the way, molded a way for it to enter you. You set up your communication so that it can be you, you can be it. But it was sound that was the hookup. Vibration was the hookup. Vibration made us hook up. Now, the so-called African people, the darker people with the melanin, it's a lot more versatile than that. You know, I think if I wasn't African, I would still see and feel the same thing. It's a versatility that the Africans have that gives them that spiritual connection with the gods and the deities and the forces of nature. And there's too little known about the forces of nature. That's what one of the problems is. There's no respect for it because there's too little known about it. We've been so thoroughly brainwashed, if I could just add that, just throw that in, just try to keep us on track of what we're dealing with here. It's hard to understand anything if you don't know the level of conditioning that we have experienced. Just not natural anymore. Everything is just unnatural. And the more you can get out to a natural setting, that's why I love coming to the Beltane festivals. Just putting a plug for the festival too. I think everybody should support the festival because it's one thing that it doesn't matter who gave the festival or what was the topic of the festival. There's a group of people who decided to draw people to nature so that they could communicate and elevate themselves past the norm or the expected norm. The control beings of the organized city and path of religions which lead to the dollars and leads to the criminal offenses and imprisonments and all the dastardly things that they call society. Well, that's society. I'd rather hang out in the forest. If that's humanity, I'd rather be, you know, like lost in the woods because I could always create my own world there. And I could always nourish myself there. I could always find a nourishment there. I could always find things to entertain myself, like sound and vibration, all the trees and sticks and different things that vibrate there. The forest is home for me, so that's why I like the festival. The city is not home for me. The city is asphalt. The city is concrete with no purpose and no real natural vibration. Everything is so unnatural in the city. The movement of the city is unnatural. The sound of the city is unnatural, although it appears to sound like nature. Like if you're riding the subway in New York City, you hear a beautiful 12/8 rhythm you know, kicking.
Mm-hmm.
You hear 6/8 rhythm, you hear beautiful 4/4 rhythm kicking. You could actually sing all your traditional songs to the 12/8 and 4/4, 6/8 that the railroad or the train, the subway train would play just from clicking backwards and forwards in the noise. But now you have to suffer the unnatural effect of that vibration, constantly being exposed to that vibration and the dirt that's kicked up, that's created to make that thing operate, the whole subway. Just unnatural. My story is like the butterfly. Butterfly stays in the mountain side. You don't go to the city because the wings are easily popped off. It's easy to pop the wings off the butterfly. He doesn't fly like an eagle or a hawk. The butterfly is like cool, easy, gentle, flippity flop, 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 flop. So when you come into a city and you have wings like a butterfly, what do? As soon as they see a butterfly in the city, what do?
Mm-hmm.
Either they kill that butterfly, they capture that butterfly and hold it in a jar so everybody can see until it disintegrates. Something unnatural happens to it. Now the butterfly just simply stays on the hillside, admiring the flowers and the leaves and the trees and the wind and the sun and the rain and the dirt and the minerals and all the natural things that happen, like water flowing up out of the ground and along the dirt, purifying and cleansing itself. Butterfly can just be all a part of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So to go to the city is the beginning of the end for the butterfly.
No, Yoruba is still very much in many ways, many aspects, a nature-based religion, isn't it?
Well, I just got finished telling you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what we believe in. There's no separation in us and nature. Nature sustains us. We're the keepers of nature because it's our responsibility to make sure that nature flows. That's why you have a head, to be intelligent, to keep things from becoming stagnant. You want things to flow and grow and build. We believe that you take care of nature, nature will take care of you. You take care of your drum or any instrument that you have, and your drum and your instrument will take care of you. Don't take care of your drum, what you want the drum to do? You go out there and play, and then one day the drum is not, it's going to have a hole in it, or it's not going to sound right, or the sound's going to be too low, or whatever, because you didn't take care of your drum. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So you take care of your drum, and every time you get ready to play, you're going to get the right vibration that's going to say, that's nice, I like that. Like that right there, that's beautiful. That's what you want to feel, that's what you want to hear. And it only comes when you take care of your drum. Or when you take care of your friends, your family, your environment. You know, now we have neighborhoods and ghettos. All unnatural scenes. Everything's unnatural. Nothing there to take care of. When it wears its usefulness out, then it could be replaced with another one. That's it.
You know, one of the things too, a lot of the people who view this, people also too in the neo-pagan community, and I'm using that as a big umbrella term because there's so many different traditions and different cultural practices. You know, it's very strange because we're so European-centric that we seem to forget about the rest of the world. Now, I understand a lot of us are going back to a lot of our ancestors and such, but sometimes I think that we're definitely missing out on a lot by not talking to people of other cultural backgrounds.
Mhm.
So if, you know, for people's education, if you could tell people, you know, about your religion, a little bit about what you do.
I mean, what would I say if I could tell people a little bit about my religion and what I do? What would I say? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not asking for anything that's oath-bound. I'm just asking in general terms.
Well, that's what I mean. In general terms, is that what you're asking me now?
Just very general terms, yes.
Well, that's what I just told you.
I know.
That's the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
Just observe nature, and just be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be more than mindful. You have to actually be responsible. You know, the forces of nature do not play with you. They do not play. They're very beautiful, but they can also be very harsh and very, very powerful.
Like the storm we just witnessed.
Absolutely. That storm can be beautiful to some and terrifying to others. It can bring life to certain things, and it can bring death to others. You know, it's the forces of nature we have to be in harmony with. And once you're in harmony with those things, there's nothing can happen bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something, like they say, if the left eye offends you, then pluck it out. Well, it's very true if you think about it. You have a terminal disease, they always try to search for it and cut it out. If you have something on you that you don't need, you take it off. You don't let it stay there, do you?
No.
You get rid of it. That's the law of nature, because if you don't, it'll just get larger and larger and bigger. So you have to take care of everything. You have to be responsible. And my religion, like Oshun, can be just as sweet and wonderful. She can be just as, I won't say cruel, but I'll say she can be just as harsh and cold as she can be sweet and wonderful. But that's just you and what you put into Oshun and what you put into the universe is what you're gonna get out. See, like readers, you know, when we read shells,
Mm-hmm.
we read nuts, we read coconut shells, but most of all, what we're actually doing is using our spirit to do all the reading.
Mm-hmm.
The shells only divine the course and lets you know which area we're dealing with. The spirit tells you the story of what's going to happen, what's going on in between. But the shells also tell you the story too. Just like we call it Odu. Odu tells you the story, just like the story of the butterfly. Drop the shells on the table, person comes for a reading. Drop the shells on the table, if a certain number comes up, you begin to tell them the story of that number that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
The number can only drop according to the person that's sitting in front of you. Now, isn't that phenomenal? So you can flip a card, and according to who's sitting there, that card is talking about that person.
Yeah.
But why? Is there something that whispered to the card? Okay, it's time for you to jump up now because that person's sitting there. Nobody said that to the card. The forces of nature manipulated through you, the reader,
Mm-hmm.
the arrival of the card and the arrival of the shell. We were just the vehicle that was used to actually not manipulate, but to well, actually, you know, we were the person that was used to to allow this arrival to take place. Because through the card, through the shell, there's a force that enters the realm of the people. The one that's reading and the one that's being read, or the thing that's being read. But, you know, you can't just sit the deck right there and go, read, deck. You have to pick them up, and then you talking to the deck, and then all of a sudden you talk to the person, and you turn a card, boom. So, well, did something come out of the air and just take those cards and say, okay, she's going to ask this question, so let's put this card next? No, it didn't happen like that. It's a phenomenal mystery that goes on, and the forces of nature are the ones that determine when those cards or shells are going to appear. And I'm glad that nobody knows how to figure that out. Because if they did, they'd probably try to sell that too.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize the deeper levels of reading that can happen when you're using divination, whatever form that takes. A lot of people, they see divination, they say, okay, well, that's just the meaning of the card, you know, and it's something so different.
Very different. How about mystical, mysterious phenomenon?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And I find that Yoruba people, Wicca people, people who do I Ching, people who read whatever they read, they're just keepers of the gate, keepers of the flame, that are there to interpret the destiny for people, because every culture has had an oracle somewhere along the line. It's that person that tells the people what the Creator wants. There's always someone that's been chosen to tell the rest of the people what the Creator wants. Now that offends the forces that are in control. Then we will go to the forest and hide some more. And the people who want, who believe in us will seek us out. They will come to the forest and they will call. We have a saying, when you get to the forest, you say, Alafia Olo Igbo. And then you enter the forest. You don't just walk in. You have to respect that that's somebody's house. Alafia Olo Igbo. Igbo means tree, bush, plants. Alafia means peace. Olo means owner of the bush, owner of the trees, owner of the leaves. Osain is the force that dwells within the leaves, within the trees and all the bush and all that. So Osain lives within the Igbo. That's why they call it Igbo-du. Igbo-du is the sacred place where the leaves are transformed into the sacred elixir, which cleanses and washes things, negative things away, so that the path can be removed, so that good things can come into play instead of the negative things. Olo Igbo. Igbo-du, sacred room, sacred grove.
That's what Indian Well is.
Indian Well is the Igbo-du.
Yeah, 5 minutes from here.
I'd like to see it.
You will.
They have water there. You can get water there.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful place.
If they would share some water with me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we did a show. Obviously, you haven't seen it yet. But we did a show on some of the sacred places in Connecticut, and one of the first stops was Indian Well over in Shelton. And it's a little river that falls inside a stone womb. So it's this beautiful little waterfall. It's actually quite deep. I actually found out that the Civilian Corps, when they were actually working on it becoming a state park, I guess like in the 30s and 40s, they actually filled it in, even though it's actually deep right now. They said it was actually bottomless before they had done that. Yeah. Yeah. But it's still a sacred place, and it still talks.
Well, you see, that's the earth for you.
Yeah.
Because in Brazil, they have places where Oshun lives. They say that people have been known to go there and fall in that water or be called into that water and never been seen ever again. Those are mysteries of the forces of nature. And Hollywood had to go and mess up your imagination, so when you hear about things like that, you think all kind of things other than what's really happening.
Hollywood does that to everybody, of anybody who's not a traditional faith, unfortunately. I think that they've managed to do a nice hatchet job on a lot of religions, not being respectful.
Not respectful at all. Yeah, so that was incorrect. But they have no respect for anybody.
All right, so if there's something that you really want to share, whatever that is with the next generation coming up, what would that be?
Well, what I like to share is there's no place for fear. Fear destroys everything. And life should be a whole journey of learning how to be unafraid of the universe. Because fear has come in and claimed too many things. Fear destroys everything. And for young people and even elders too, have a lot of faith in nature, and don't allow fear to take you over, because the truth will set you free, meaning that if you just give nature a chance, you will see the solution to all your problems, all your situations. You allow nature to handle those situations, you will definitely come out on top and for the better. Because you cannot win when you argue with nature. You just cannot win. So you just have to work with nature and don't be afraid of nature. Because we are nature. We are a part of nature. Nature is all a part of us, so why be afraid of it? Replace your fear with courage and lead with adventure spirit, open mind, and sprinkle the earth with wonderfulness, with your words. Sprinkle the earth with wonderfulness, with your deeds and your actions and your movements. Sprinkle the earth and the universe with wonderfulness. And dock your ship on the harbor of peace. Relax. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in for this interview. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to other people too as well. And every elder that comes and speaks, every leader that comes and speaks, they all are contributing to this vast pool of knowledge that we now have. So this is all helping people. They're learning and they're growing because of things that they have to say. So we're going to cut now to this little bit of a piece. Baba's playing drums. He's doing a class. And so you can experience some of the magic of what he does.
Yeah, that was a real fun class because nobody in that room expected anything. They didn't expect what happened. They thought they was going to see one thing, and then I actually showed them something that they never expected. We had everybody in that room, from the from the best, the most controlled person to the least controlled person, totally involved in making that happen, and each person was extremely important in making it happen. As you will see, when you see there's three ladies playing stick drums. Kinkini is the smallest one, Songba the middle one, and the Dundun or Dunumba, which is the biggest drum. Those three ladies, three different age groups, three different cultural heritages, Black American, White American, and an elder woman. There was different age groups and everything. They came together and played some music that they never thought they was going to be able to play. So you'll see that on the tape, and then you'll see male egos just melt away, and the real good part of men actually just came out and contributed and made that night a very special night. Because those egos, I can remember a few years back, those egos would have destroyed a night like that. But much has been learned by a lot of the men, and of course we demanded gently, pleasantly, that they cooperate that evening, and it was a very special evening for all.
Awesome.
You will see that we combined Cuba and West Africa. We just took West Africa and Cuba and just boom, put it together. And there's two different types of drumming. And we showed that all the drummers from different walks of life could play together in the same room and play at the same time if they made it an agreement, a social agreement, to make music instead of noise.
Keepers of the Flame is produced by the Pantheon Temple. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider donating to the Pantheon Temple. We are a 501c3 nonprofit temple and the first Wiccan and Pagan temple in the state of Connecticut. It is our dream to someday have land in a building. Please help us achieve this goal. And for more information about us and our events, please go to our website at www.pantheontemple.org. Please visit paganodyssey.com for Beltane, a Pagan Odyssey Festival, Connecticut's oldest and original pagan festival by the Pantheon Temple. And please visit Keepers of the Flame at our new website at www.keepersoftheflametv.com.
Take me down to the 7 gates of Castile, to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings. Let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to the magical place where the dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where the dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down through the 7 gates where I'll cast my being to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings. Let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where the dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power